Hey howdy, welcome back to our channel. In this video, we are going to see what if Naruto had harem with Shinigami. This is part 1. If you want to see next part, please leave a like. It's motivate me to make more videos, and I request you to check out author named A New Life, A New World by Akatsuki Leader 13. So do check out. And I have uploaded Naruto X Pony and Censored Lemon. So if you were adult, do check out. All details and description. Now, let's jump into video. Images flashed in his mind. His early childhood in Konoha. All the happy times he had with his parents and his clan. Learning of his clan's teachings. His father giving him his nickname and his first clan tattoo. Then things turned bad. He remembered his 7th birthday and its bloody aftermath. The Yoshimitsu clan, a clan that many called the brother to his own clan, attacked. He remembered his parents locking him in a hidden compartment. He remembered spending the night in a cramped, dark space, listening to people fighting and dying all around him. In the end, they wiped each other out. The Yoshimitsu clan was gone, and he was the only one left of his clan. After that, he lived by himself, learning of his clan and their techniques. His dream to become the greatest swordsman that ever lived. Entering the academy, befriending Hinata Hyuga, later developing feelings for her and learning of her own feelings for Naruto. Graduating from the academy, joining Team 7 alongside Sakura, Sasuke, and Naruto. The mission to the Land of Waves. The first encounter with Zabuza, one of the 7 swordsmen of Mist, and actually managing to slightly impress the Rouge swordsman with his own growing skill with a sword. The battle on the bridge. Sasuke's near death and Naruto using, for the first time, the Kyuubi's chakra. Something that would cause him to become very suspicious of his blonde teammate. Though he wouldn't figure it out until later what Naruto was hiding. Location unknown, time unknown. Kinshiro Mitsurugi slowly opened his eyes. His now dirty and blood-stained brown hair slightly obscured his view. He had been tied to a wooden cross and left to rot. But he wasn't alone. He was alongside one of his teammates, one who had been his teammate 3 years earlier, and the body of his other teammate. They had failed. Their world was doomed. Chances were that their home and everyone they cared about was gone, destroyed by the Akatsuki. To his left was Sakura Haruno. Like him, she was tied to a cross. There was a number of bandages all over her body. The leader of Akatsuki, Pain, had decided that they should die a long, slow death of starvation rather than their wounds. So their wounds had been treated and they were left on these crosses to die. Hawk had lost count of how many days had pasted. To his right was Sasuke Uchiha, bandages wrapped around where his eyes had been. It would be easy to blame him for all this, but it would be a lie. He was as much a victim of these horrible circumstances as they were. He had never wanted or intended for this to happen. It was the Chunin exams that began the path they had walked to this fate. He remembered the preliminaries and their dark outcome. Sasuke bitten by Orochimaru and receiving that damned cursed seal. Hinata badly beaten by her cousin Neji. The goofy-looking, but courageous Rock Lee being completely destroyed by Gaara. His own victory and moving on with Naruto and Sasuke to the finals to face a member of the Hidden Shadow Village, simply named Haishiro, that had an obsession with him, starting his own private training. Then after the first week of training, an old drunkard wandered into his clan's training grounds. The drunk effortlessly countered every attempt he made to eject him from the grounds before finally beating him with a single punch. The man then took it upon himself to train him and help get rid the flaws in his stance and style. He would later learn that this man was Shujinko, one of the legendary Sannin, and years earlier had trained his parents' Genin team. Then finals came. He watched with satisfaction as Naruto kicked Neji's smug ass with that chakra again. When Sasuke didn't show up, his match was postponed until after all of the other first-round matches were done. Kinshiro faced off against his Shadow Nin opponent. He quickly learned that Haishiro was beyond obsessed with him. Haishiro sought to kill him for some unknown reason, but he had a plan long before he entered the arena. He attacked Haishiro with weak attacks designed to further irritate and anger the already unstable Genin. And it succeeded. By the end of the match, Haishiro was attacking as wildly as possible, but with no thought of what he was doing. But even then, Haishiro was still stronger than him. It was then that he revealed something to Haishiro. The core belief of the Mitsurugi clan. Hide one's true strength until it is needed. And that's just what he did, deactivating his first tattoo, the Power Seal tattoo, for the first time in his life. revealing his full strength for the first time in his entire life. He defeated his opponent in a single strike and spared his life, something Kenshiro would regret later on. Ultimately, he would earn the rank of Chunin alongside Shikamaru. The other matches went on. Sasuke finally arrived, and the match between him and Gaara started. Then the invasion happened. Sound, Sand, and Shadow Ninja attacked the village. Gaara and his siblings fled with Sasuke on their tail. Kakashi ordered Naruto, Sakura, Shikamaru, and himself to follow Sasuke, stop him, and get to a safe place until he came for them. In the end, they ended up fighting Gaara. Gaara managed to beat both he and Sasuke and trap Sakura in slowly tightening ball of sand. Somehow Naruto managed to beat Gaara back until Gaara transformed into a massive demon of sand. It looked like it was the end when Naruto proved just how unpredictable he was by summoning a massive toad to battle Gaara. Then when Naruto and the toad hinged into a massive nine-tailed fox. The final piece of the puzzle fit into place. Everything made sense. Why many of the adults hated Naruto's near limitless chakra, where that crimson chakra came from. The nine-tailed fox that had almost destroyed Konoha was sealed into Naruto. The aftermath of the invasion. The Third's funeral. The reconstruction of Konoha. And those two, Itachi Uchiha and Kisame Hoshigaki. They wanted Naruto and knew they were teammates. He didn't know where Naruto was and wouldn't have told them anyway. He ended up fighting Kisame, who, like Zabuza, commented on his skill with a sword. Kisame beat him with ease, and he passed out. In fact, Samehada left a large scar across his chest. When he woke up a few days later, he learned that Kakashi and Sasuke were both in comas because of those two, and Naruto was helping bring the next Hokage to Konoha, and she would be able to help Sasuke and Kakashi. Of course, things only grew worse for them. Sasuke abandoned the village for that snake, Orochimaru. Tsunade had ordered him and Shikamaru to assemble a team and retrieve him. Naruto, Chuji, Neji, and Kiba joined them. After Chuji stayed behind to battle one of the Sound Shinobi taking Sasuke to Orochimaru, Neji spotted an old, hidden stone tunnel that could allow them quickly get ahead of the group and block them off. Unfortunately, Haishiro and his teammates erected a barrier to stop them from using it unless he fought him again. He told Naruto and the others to follow the Sound Nin, that he would beat the Shadow Nin and take the tunnel and try to slow them down. Again, they battled, throwing everything they had at each other. He won, killing Haishiro, but not without a great toll on him. And before he died, Haishiro revealed a secret to him. A secret about the death of his clan and his lineage. A secret that would stay between the two of them. A secret that shattered everything he knew about his parents. He took Haishiro's sword as his own. Haishiro's teammates had already fled, dropping the barrier, allowing him to use the tunnel. Somehow, he managed to get ahead of both group and ended up somewhere near the Valley of the End. He wasn't all that surprised when Sasuke came running towards Sound by himself. He tried to reason with Sasuke to convince him that going to Orochimaru wouldn't solve anything, that it wouldn't give him the strength and power he wanted. But Sasuke was a lot like Naruto, stubborn. When words failed, he tried to stop Sasuke physically, but he was too badly injured and quickly lost consciousness. When he woke up, he learned that the team had survived but failed to bring Sasuke back. Ultimately, Team 7 was broken. Each went their separate ways. Each was trained by one of the Sannin. Like Naruto, he left Konoha for almost 3 years, training under Shujinko. He grew wiser and stronger, mastering many weapons and weapon styles, as well as many of the techniques of the Mitsurugi clan. As a result, more clan tattoos adorned his body, and Shujinko helped him recover a number of lost relics of both clans. They returned to Konoha. Team Kakashi was formed. They managed to save Gaara, kill several Akatsuki members, but had failed to retrieve Sasuke again. Then Sasuke killed Orochimaru and chased after his brother. That action would signal the end for them. Kakashi assembled a 9-man team to chase after Sasuke and bring him home. During their search for him, Sasuke found his brother and the two of them battled. Sasuke was strong but ultimately lost to his brother. However, Itachi didn't kill him. Instead, The Akatsuki used him as bait to lure them into a trap. Kinshur weakly shook his head at the memory of what happened next. The leader of the Akatsuki, Pain, attacked, quickly killing much of their team. Hinata and Sai had managed to escape. Whether they made it to Konoha or not, he didn't know. He, Naruto, and Sakura were captured. They were forced to watch as they painfully extracted the Kyuubi from Naruto, killing him. Then Itachi removed Sasuke's eyes and took them as his own. They tied them to these crosses. They tied Naruto's body to one as well. To keep them company, Pain had said, "Sakura, Hawk." Sasuke weakly said, "Yes, Sasuke." Both he and Sakura replied, just as weakly as him, "I'm sorry for everything. I just wanted to say that." Before he did, Sasuke's head dropped. He was dead, or soon would be. He couldn't tell. They would soon be dead as well. "Well, Sakura, it looks like this is the end," he grimly said. "After all we've done, only to fail here. It just doesn't seem right. At least, no one can say that we didn't try." Sakura replied. He weakly chuckled. "True. They can't. We did everything we could, but it just wasn't enough." A few hours later, he and Sakura passed on as well. Of course, none of them expected what happened next. Naruto, Sasuke, Sakura, and Hawk found themselves floating, alive and well in what could be best described as empty space. They had no idea where they were. "This is unexpected," Hawk said. "Is this the afterlife?" Sakura asked as she stared out into the endless horizon. "If it is, then the afterlife is highly overrated," Sasuke commented. I've been expecting you." Naruto Uzumaki, Sasuke Uchiha, Kinshur Hawk, Mitsurugi, Sakura Haruno. A voice said. A man appeared, wearing a white hooded robe. They couldn't see his face beneath the shadow the hood cast over his face. "Who are you? And where are we?" Sakura asked. "Me? Well, I suppose you could say I'm Fate." The man replied. "Fate?" All four of them asked. "Basically, I have many names, but Fate sums me up the best." He answered. "It is my job to make sure the worlds follow the right path." "So why are we here?" Hawk asked. "Well, you see, there are times when a world goes far off its destined path. You see, Sasuke wasn't supposed to lose to Itachi. Itachi was supposed to fall at the end of that battle. All four of you were supposed to die about 50 years later than when you did." He explained, "And sometimes when I go to correct it, by resetting a world back before the point where it went off its path, there are problems. Sometimes the people that are tied to the event that has gone off course aren't reset with their world, but rather are duplicated." "Duplicated?" Sasuke said in disbelief. "What do you mean, duplicated?" "There now exists in your world a second, Sasuke, Naruto, Sakura, and Kinshur, with no memory of what happened. They will follow the paths that you and they were meant to follow. That also means you cannot return to your world the way you are." "Then what's going to happen to us?" Sakura asked. "Well, the choice is up to you. The four of you can enter your world's regeneration cycle and be reborn as new people. Or you can retain your memories, but you will lose most of your abilities, though you will retain some of them, in form or another, and go to another world and serve a purpose there. I'll leave you time to think." The robed man faded away, leaving them alone. "This is just too wired," Naruto commented. "Is this guy for real?" "Well, I think he is." Naruto, Sakura replied. "I mean, we all died. We know that much. So, how are we alive now? And did we get here for that matter?" "Good point. I remember dying, as strange as that is. So, if this guy's telling the truth, what should we do?" Hawk asked. "Reborn with nothing, or go to a whole other world and never see our friends and home." Sasuke shrugged. "I say we go to this other world that this guy was talking about. Either way, we'll never see Konoha again. At least if we go to this other world, we'll at least retain who we are." "True. If nothing else, we'll have each other," Hawk said. "I say we go to this other world." "I have to agree as well," Sakura said. The three of them turned to Naruto. Naruto hesitated. If we leave, I'll never become Hokage," he said dejectedly. They all knew how badly Naruto wanted to become Hokage. "Naruto, if we chose to stay here, we'll be reborn as other people," Sasuke said to the blonde. "Chances are, we won't even be born in Konoha again. We may not even be born in a shinobi village. And you won't even remember your dream." "I know, but it's just hard to say goodbye to Kakashi-sensei," Irika-sensei, Granny, previous sage, and everybody else. Well, there is one good thing about going to that other world, Hawk said with a grin. Naruto gave him a puzzled look. No one but us will know about the QB, or Sasuke's betrayal, he answered, or any of our pasts for that matter. It'll be like starting off with a clean slate. Naruto immediately perked up a bit. Actually, that raises the question, is the QB back in Naruto? Sakura asked. Actually, like everyone else in your world, he has been reset, so you won't have to worry about him, Fate said as he reappeared. So, have you made up your minds? We're going, Naruto shouted in his normal loud, cheerful tone as he thrust a fist into the air. And if I can't become Hokage, then I'll become the greatest. Whatever they have in that world. Sasuke, Sakura, Hawk, and Fate all sweat dropped. Same old Naruto. Sakura, Hawk, and Sasuke all thought. A complete emotional 180 in less than a minute. Fate chuckled. I bet you will. The man said. One last thing. Here's Sasuke. Fate handed Sasuke a familiar object. His Konoha headband, with the scratch still in it. Let me just fix that. Fate snapped his fingers. The scratch mark instantly repaired itself. A little memento of your home. Goodbye and good luck. Fate snapped his fingers again. A vortex opened up beneath them, pulling the four ninjas in before they could do anything. They spun faster and faster. Ah, damn it. I'm gonna be sick. Someone shouted. Hawk didn't know who. It could have been him for all he knew. Eventually, the G-forces became too much and they all passed out. Captains meeting Chamber 1st Division headquarters. And yesterday, I as well as 3 other captains judged him on the requirements of a captain through the rules of the captain examination. His ability and character made me draw my conclusion without any criticisms. The former 3rd seed of Squad 2, Kasuke Urahara, has been appointed as new captain of the 12th Division. Captain General Yamamoto said to the assembled captains and lieutenants. Suddenly, there was a massive surge of Ryatsu. Right above their heads, all the captains and lieutenants present looked up. A vortex opened up on the ceiling. Everyone was stunned silent. Suddenly, a black-haired boy dropped out of the vortex and crashed into the ground, followed by a brown-haired boy, a blonde-haired boy, and a pink-haired girl. The vortex then started to close. But before it completely closed, a scroll flew out and hovered in front of Yamamoto's face. The Captain General reached up and grabbed the scroll. All 4 of the unknown arrivals appeared to be in their mid to late teens. Their clothes were tattered and blood-stained. But there are 2 odd things about them. Each wore a headband with a spiral leaf design on a metal plate, which were completely undamaged. In fact, the headbands all looked brand new. The second odd thing was that, though their clothes were covered obvious signs of battle damage, there were no wounds on their bodies. Shinji asked the question that was on everyone's minds, okay, what was that? And who are they? Yamamoto, looking for answers, opened the scroll and began to read it. Everyone else silently waited. A few minutes later, Yamamoto rolled up the scroll. Captain Unohana, take these 4 to the 4th Division compound and give them a complete examination. Alert me when they wake up. Unohana bowed her head. Yes, Captain Yamamoto. Unohana and her lieutenant knelt down next to the unconscious teens and checked them for any immediate signs of injury. Physically, their bodies appeared to be simply extremely weakened and exhausted. Satisfied that they weren't in any immediate danger, she ordered her lieutenant to summon some stretchers and squad for members to carry them back to the division headquarters. Well, old man Yama, what does the scroll say? Shunsui asked. In 2 hours, all captains and lieutenants will reassemble here to discuss what to do about these 4. The contents of the scroll will be discussed then. Yamamoto answered. Dismissed. 4th Division headquarters 30 minutes later. Naruto slowly opened his eyes. He felt sore and tired. He had never felt this exhausted and drained before. Added to this, he had a strange dream. Something about chasing after Sasuke, dying, meeting a guy calling himself Fate, and getting pulled down a giant drain. He made a mental note to never again eat instant ramen 8 months past the expiration date. He took a look at his surroundings. He was in a familiar room, a hospital room. There was a curtain around his bed, but there was a window on his right side. His forehead protector and Tsunade's necklace were laying on the nightstand next to the bed. Wow, That must have been some really bad ramen if I'm in the hospital. He turned to the window, only to receive a shock. Instead of seeing Konoha and the Hokage Mountain, he saw a foreign large city. It seemed to be divided into two parts. The part he was in appeared to be the nicer of the two. The buildings were white, clean, and looked like they were made of fairly high-end quality material. The farther away from the building he was in, the quality of the buildings decreased, going to the point of basic shacks. Naruto sat up, trying to get a better view out the window, when he heard a familiar groan. "Hawk, is that you?" Naruto said as he pulled back part of the curtain, revealing 3 other beds surrounded in curtains. Hawk's voice came from the bed on his left. "Naruto?" "Yeah, Imi." Hawk pulled part of the curtains away. He looked beyond exhausted. There were dark bags under his eyes. His eyes appeared to be struggling to stay open. "You look like hell," Naruto commented. "I could say the same for you." Hawk replied before yawning. "So, why are we in the hospital?" Well, I don't think we're in Konoha anymore." Hawk's eyes suddenly widened. "It wasn't a strange dream, was it? It was real. So we're real in another world." "I guess so." I see you've woken up," a calm and gentle voice said. A woman with long, black hair styled in a loose ponytail running down her chest, completely pulled back the curtains and then stepped in between their beds. She wore a black kimono and hakama with a long white coat. "I am Retsu Unohana, captain of the 4th Division of the 13 Court Guard Squads. May I ask who you are?" Naruto and Hawk both had no idea what this 13 Court Guard Squads was, but they figured that they would learn what it was soon enough. "Naruto Uzumaki. I'm Kinshiro Mitsurugi, but most people call me Hawk. And I guess we're now former ninjas of the village hidden in the leaves." "Village hidden in the leaves? I've never heard of it," Unohana said. Naruto grinned sheepishly. "Well, that's kinda because we're from another world." Unohana looked at them in surprise and disbelief. "Another world? Air?" "Yeah," Naruto answered. "It's kinda long." A pair of groans interrupted him. It was Sakura and Sasuke. "It looks like you're all awake now," Unohana said, as turned to the 2 beds opposite theirs. "Ugh, if I ever see that guy again, I'm gonna kill him," Sasuke said as he rubbed his forehead. "He could have warned us that he was going to that." "He could have, but something tells me he has a sense of humor that won't have allowed him to warn us," Hawk commented. Unohana smiled and introduced herself to Sasuke and Sakura, who introduced themselves to her. A white-haired woman entered the room. She wore a black kimono and hakama as well, but didn't have the coat. "Aizan, please inform Captain Yamamoto that our guests have wakened." "Yes, Captain," Aisane said as she bowed her head and left. "Captain Yamamoto?" Sakura asked. "Captain General Yamamoto is the commander of the 13 Court Guard Squads and the strongest of all Soul Reapers," Unohana replied. "Soul Reapers? What are those? And what exactly is the 13 Court Guard Squads?" Sakura asked. "Well," Unohana briefly explained what Soul Reaper are, the 13 Court Guard Squads, and their duties. "Basically, this place is this world's afterlife. And these guard squads basically help souls cross over and to purify corrupt souls called hollows. And we're dead, correct?" Sasuke said. "Essentially, yes." At that moment, an extremely old, decrepit-looking man entered the room. He was bald with a long white beard, revealing a pair of scars in an X shape on his forehead. Like Unohana, he wore a black kimono and hakama. There was a white coat draped over his shoulders. The man walked with a wooden walking staff. All the members of Team 7 could tell that this man, although he was old, he was immensely powerful. "My name is Shigekuni Yamamoto Jinryusai. I am the Captain General of the 13 Court Guard Squads. And the 4 of you are Sasuke Uchiha, Kinshiro Mitsurugi, Sakura Haruno, and Naruto Uzumaki, correct?" "How do you know that?" Sakura asked, but they were all thinking it. "There was a note that came with you. It explained everything," Yamamoto replied. "It seems that fate has thrown a few more wayward souls my way." "This has happened before, Captain Yamamoto?" Unohana asked. "Indeed, but it hasn't happened in many, many years. I was a young man back then," Yamamoto commented. "Captain Unohana, are they well to be able to attend the upcoming meeting?" "Physically, aside from extreme physical exhaustion, they're fine. They should be able to attend the meeting if they take it easy. But I would advise that they get some sleep first." "No, have them brought to the meeting," Yamamoto said. so we can straighten everything out immediately." Yamamoto then walked out of the room. Unohana turned to them and said, "There's still over an hour until the meeting. I suggest that you all get some rest until then." Captain's meeting, Chamber 1st Division headquarters 1 hour later. Unohana, her lieutenant, and the 4 ninja entered the captain's meeting chamber in the 1st Division headquarters. Hawk nervously readjusted his headband as stared at the captains and lieutenants who looked at them with curiosity. It's a one with a long blue cloth, like Naruto's post-time skip headband. He had to admit, they were an odd-looking bunch. Of course, the same could be said for some of the others from Konoha. The tallest person in the room, a man who had a wild and savage aura to him, with shoulder-length black hair and a long scar on his left eye. Standing behind him was the smallest person in the room, a pink-haired little girl whom stared at Sakura intensely. Then there was a man wearing a straw hat and what appeared to be a woman's pink coat, a guy with a big afro, wearing sunglasses, some guy with ridiculous-looking long blonde hair, a ditzy-looking green-haired girl standing behind a gray-haired guy with 69 tattooed on his stomach. Hawk made a mental note, too, when he was fully recovered, check if he still had all of his tattoos and if they still did what they were supposed to do. Okay, so let's see what we've gotten ourselves into. Yamamoto looked around at the assembled people. Now that we are all here, it is time to discuss what shall be done about our guests. His gaze focused on the 4 of them. Now, tell us how the 4 ended up here. Then I suppose we should start with our names. My name is Kenshin Mitasurgi, though just about everybody calls me Hawk. Hawk said, "Why Hawk?" A man with white hair tied back in a loose ponytail asked. Hawk paused for a minute. "Actually, it's been so long since I got that nickname that I've forgotten how I got it," he replied in embarrassment. Just about everyone in the room's sweat dropped. Sasuke cleared his throat and said, "Sasuke Uchiha. I'm Sakura Haruno. I'm Naruto Uzumaki, Konoha's #1 ninja." Naruto shouted, much to the surprise of all the captains and lieutenants. This time, just about everyone in the room's sweat dropped. "I thought it was Konoha's #1, loudest, most unpredictable ninja dobe," Sasuke said. "Team," Naruto grumbled. The man wearing the woman's coat laughed. "Well, he certainly knows how to make a first impression. Is he always like that?" The white-haired man asked. "Pretty much. Naruto is rarely discreet about anything," Hawk replied. "Now I think should we talk about where we came from? Our world was one of ninja and hidden villages. They took turns talking about the shinobi world, about chakra and the techniques they used, of the hidden villages and of their pasts. They left out Sasuke's betrayal and few other personal things. Though surprising, Naruto told them about the Kyuubi being sealed into him. When it came to Sasuke's defection to Sound, they merely told them that they had spent 2.5 years apart from each other, learning under different masters, which technically was the truth. They just omitted the reason for it. They finished with their deaths at the hands of the Akatsuki, meeting fate and getting sent here. When they finished, they heard a set of hands clapping. It was that pink-haired girl. Yay! Great story, Whiskers, Emo, Birdie, and Big Pinky Head. Again, just about everyone in the room, sweat dropped. Whiskers? Naruto said in disbelief and annoyance. Emo, an annoyed Sasuke said. Birdie, Hawk said in pure disbelief. Big Pinky Head, Sakura said with a look and tone that she only used whenever Naruto said or did something that angered her. I have to agree with Little Miss Yachiru, the straw hat-wearing man said with a grin. That was quite an interesting story. Hidden villages, ninjas, giant demons of immense power being sealed into newborns. It sounds like something from a children's book. The people of our world would say the same about you and this place. Sasuke replied. The man chuckled. Yeah, you're probably right about that. Personally, I'm interested in those techniques of yours. A dark-skinned woman wearing a captain's coat said. I am as well. They sound a lot like Aikido spells. A man with short blonde hair said. Would you be able to give us a demonstration? Yeah. Well, we don't really know what we can still use. Hawk paused for a moment before adding, actually, there may be something I can show if it works anyway. Hawk opened up the front of his white hospital kimono, revealing all of the tattoos on his chest, as well as the large, jagged scar he got from Samahata. He bit his thumb, drawing blood. He smeared a bit of blood on the largest tattoo on his chest. A tattoo of a black raven in flight, located on his upper chest, a few inches beneath his throat. The tattoo literally flew off his chest and transformed into an actual raven, earning O's. From the pink-haired girl and the green-haired girl, Hawk suddenly a wave of vertigo and fell, Naruto caught him before he hit the ground. "You alright?" Naruto asked as he helped him back up to his feet. "Yeah, I'll be fine," he replied as the raven landed on his shoulder. "Hey Karasu, good to see you again." Karasu simply nodded his head in response. Karasu is my familiar, an animal that has agreed to be bound to me. It was a famous technique of my clan. Because of this, Karasu can't truly die, at least as long as I'm alive. Should his body die, his essence returns to my soul, and his tattoo reappears on my chest, allowing me to recreate his body like I just showed you. I'd show you some of the stuff we can do together, but I'm just too drained. Extraordinary. The man with short blonde hair said in awe. You'll have to show more when you've all recov dash. Enough, Captain Urahara. Yamamoto interrupted. That can wait. We have other matters to attend to first. Now, the note that was sent with the four of you said that you should all be sent to the academy and trained to be soul reapers, and that you'll all likely be done in a year. So that is what we shall do. Unless someone has an objection to this. No one objected. Very well then. Next week, all four of you report to the academy. Until then, you will stay at the 4th Division. And that's it for now. So what do you think? Good? Bad? I know the whole concept of how they were sent to the Bleach world is kinda lame, but that was the only way I could do it without having to include other Naruto characters. And if I did that, I would have had either the Bleach characters or the Naruto characters getting overshadowed. This story is actually going to be the prequel story of my Naruto/Bleach crossover, and much shorter than that one will be. This one will cover the time before the storyline begins, and will pretty much focus on the members of Team 7. Now, they all retain certain ninja abilities they possessed, though some can only be used with their Zanpakuras. They all retain many of the basic techniques, such as the substitution jutsu, the normal clones, though Naruto doesn't get his shadow clones, see below, and some others. Sasuke retains the Sharingan. Naruto retains his high stamina and endurance, and has high levels of Ryatsu, in place of his high chakra levels. He also retains his faster than normal regeneration. Sakura retains the mystical palm technique, aka chakra scalpel technique, as well as her insane strength and perfect Ryatsu control. As for Hawk, about the only abilities he's retained are tied to his familiar, Karasu, and I'll explain them in future chapters. Zanpaku's sad face. I try to make sure they weren't too powerful. Naruto. Name. Kiranonai Kaze. Endless winds. Release command. The weak shall know their kindness. The wicked shall know their wrath appearance. A pair of katanas. Both the hilt and sheath are black with an orange strip running up the sides. A gold guard in the shape of the Konoha leaf symbol with 9 small rings along the sides of the guard. Shirkai appearance. A pair of large falchions, similar to Shuinsue's shirkai. The hilts lengthen, but otherwise, both the hilt and guard of the swords remain the same. There's a large, round hole near the top of each blade. Description. A rare, twin-bladed Zanpakuto. As its name implies, Kiranonai Kaze is a wind-type Zanpakuto. Its first ability is to create clones of compressed air and Ryatsu, similar to Naruto's infamous shadow clones. When destroyed, the clones explode in a mini tornado, damaging up-close enemies. Kiranonai Kaze can also manipulate the air around it, creating powerful blasts of compressed air. Another of its ability is a passive one. When Naruto lands or receives the first hit, a marble-sized Rasengan appears in the center of the holes in the blades. They grow larger every time Naruto hits something or is hit. When the Rasengans fill the holes, Naruto gains 2 abilities he can use. The first is to release all the gathered energy in a single attack, an attack that resembles the Rasengan. The second ability is to release that energy into his swords, creating powerful, high-speed wind currents that surround the blades for a short period of time, dramatically increasing their power. Sasuke. Name. Reiku Ryujin Lightning Dragon King. Release command. Rain down your vengeful fury upon the unjust appearance. A Chikudo. Basically, it's Sasuke's sword from Shippuden. Black hilt and sheath with red and blue strips running up the sides. Shirkai appearance. A pair of Tonfas, elbow blades. Each handles resemble a Chinese dragon that extends out and coils around a long sword blade, a bit longer than Sasuke's arm. Both ends have blade tips. There are 4 Angeli back dagger-like spikes running along the side opposite the handles. Description: a lightning type and rare twin-bladed Zanpakuto. Releasing his Zanpaku grants Sasuke the use of all of his lightning-based attacks and jutsus. Save the Kirin, way too powerful for a Shurikai release. It may be part of his Bankai, but I haven't decided. Sakura. Name: Sakurite Creator. Release command: Shape the World appearance. Ordinary katana. A dark pink sheath and hilt. A gold guard in the shape of 4 flower petals around the blade, and 4 small leaves in between the petals. Shurikai appearance: a pair of black leather gloves with pink lines running down the thumbs and fingers with a pink version of her flower-shaped guard on the backs of the gloves. Description: Sakurite is an unusual Zanpakuto, as its Shurikai doesn't take the form of a sword or some type of weapon. Sakurite increases Sakura's already insane strength, but its primary ability is to gather Ryatsu from either herself or the environment into her hands. Then she turns it into solid matter and shapes into whatever she wants. However, she can't make complex objects, and most of the objects only last 10 minutes at most before they disintegrate. Shorter for larger objects. Sakura can use this ability in a number of different ways, from creating weapons for herself or others to large wall-like shields. It can even be used to help her heal people, creating stitches, bandages, and other medical equipment. The medical equipment is the only exception to the 10-minute life that the objects have, as they leech off small amounts of Ryatsu from the person they're applied to, sustaining themselves until they're removed. Kinshur. Name: Aoi Kuro Light Dark / Kuroawai Dark Light. Release command: Inverse appearance. Ordinary katana. Black sheath, white hilt. A gold guard. The right side is in the shape of a folded angel's wing. Left side is shaped like a folded demon's wing. Shurikai appearance: long blade katana. Aoi Kuro. The edge of the blade is white, while the dull side is black. The guard is in the shape of a pair of white angel wings. The hilt is black. Kuroawai. The edge of the blade is black, while the dull side is white. The guard is in the shape of a pair of black demon wings. The hilt is white. Description: another unusual Zanpakuto, Aoi Kuro / Kuroawai, has 2 separate states, Aoi Kuro Light and Kuroawai Darkness. Aoi Kuro is more for direct attacks compared to Kuroawai. Aoi Kuro's primary ability is to gather Ryatsu into the blade, causing it to glow, increasing brighter over time. Kinshur can release this energy at any time, but he releases it all when he does. The brighter the blade when he releases it, the more powerful its attacks are, but he has to wait for it to recharge before he can use its attacks again. Aoi Kair, Light Slice, is Aoi Kuro's main attack. It's simply a releasing of its gathered Ryatsu when it makes contact with something. The brighter the blade, the more powerful the attack, and the more powerful attacks can be released as a projectile. Aoi Senku, Light Flash. Kinshur releases the stored-up Ryatsu in single blinding flash at his enemies, blinding them, but it doesn't affect himself or his allies. Like Aoi Kair, the brighter the blade, the longer the blindness lasts. Aoi Kyuzu Light Explosion is Aoi Kuro's strongest and most dangerous attacks. It can only be used when Aoi Kuro reaches its Ryatsu storage threshold and can't store anymore. All that Ryatsu is released in a single powerful projectile attack. However, it destroys Aoi Kuro's blade in the process, and it takes 1 full minute before it can be restored, nor can it be switched to Kuroawai during this time. Kuroawai is wildly different from Aoi Kuro. The blade itself is completely ethereal and unable to attack anyone or anything. Instead, it creates and manipulates shadows to fight enemies. Kinshur uses this ability by writing various kanji in the air with his sword, leaving a black kanji in the air. The kanji then transforms into the object. For example, he writes the kanji for hand. It creates a shadow hand which he then can control. However, his shadow creations can't last more than a few good hits. As you can see, they have completed training at the academy and ready to become members of the 13 Court Guard squad. Yamamoto said to the assembled captains. Now the question is what divisions to put them in. Now that is a question. With their abilities and training from their world, they'd be suitable in just about any division. What are their Zanpakutos like? They're quite interesting. Yamamoto replied. I personally inspected them after they were created. 2 of them have twin-blade Zanpakutos. The eyes of the captains widened in surprise. Only two Soul Reapers had ever possessed a twin-bladed Zanpakuto. Captains Shunsui Kairaku and Jushiro Yukitake. Whoa. So let me guess, you want them to be in our divisions? Shunsui said. Yes. Shunsui grinned. Okay then. I'll take the blonde. He looks to be an interesting fellow. Jushiro, you can have the other one. Jushiro smirked. Giving me leftovers, eh? Shunsui? Shunsui chuckled. Nothing of the sort. I would have thought you would have wanted to have top student. More like you want the one that less likely to try to stop from lazing around. Jushiro replied. You know me too well, Jushiro. Then it is decided. Naruto Uzumaki will be placed in the 8th division and Sasuke Uchiha will be placed in the 13th division. Yamamoto said. Now what about the other two? Captain Yamamoto. Unohana said. I would like for Miss Haruno to become a member of the 4th division. Yamamoto nodded. The young woman had a large medical knowledge and would be a valuable asset to the 4th division. Actually, Captain Unohana. Captain Urahara said, I believe she would be a greater asset in my division. Explain. Yamamoto said to the captain of the 12th. As you know, I've had very limited success duplicating their unique abilities. So it would be ideal for us to have one in my division to aid me in my research. While it is true that with her knowledge of her world's medical techniques and procedures and medicine would be an asset to the 4th. But if she was placed in my division, she could experiment on combining her medical techniques and medicine with our own, creating stronger and more effective healing spells and medicines. Yamamoto nodded his head. It would make more sense in the long run to have her in the research and development division. True, she could save lives in the 4th, but if she was working in the 12th on better medicine and healing spells, she could save more lives in the long run. I have to agree. Captain Unohana, do you have any counter-argument? No, Captain Yamamoto. I have no problem with what Captain Urahara is proposing. The captain of Squad 4 said. Then Sakura Haruno is now a member of the 12th division. Captain Yamamoto, I would like to have Kenshiro Mitsurugi in my division. Captain Kinsei Muguruma said. Hey, not so fast, Kinsei. Captain Kinpachi said. I want one of those 4 in my squad. Let me guess, you want another strong guy in your division to fight. Kenshiro said. Kinpachi grinned. So what if it is? Well, you already got your 4 top officers in your division, whom you were allowed to have despite the fact they received no real formal training. So why don't you let me have this? The captain of the 9th said. Kinpachi growled and was about to say something when Yamamoto spoke. Kenshiro Mitsurugi will be placed in the 9th division, and that is final. West Rakangai, 1st district later that night. Naruto, Sakura, Sasuke, and Hawk were celebrating their graduation from the academy along with all the other graduates. They were all in a restaurant in the western 1st Rakangai district. Apparently, it was a tradition for the few graduating students and a bunch of the students who didn't graduate to come here on the night of graduation and eat and party. The academy apparently covered the bill. Sitting at a table in a quiet corner of the restaurant was Naruto and his friends, eating their dinners. Hawk was eating a seafood platter with a side of fried rice and mixed veggies, with Karasu occasionally eating some of the food from his plate. Sakura was eating a chicken stir-fry, while Sasuke was a beef stir-fry. Naruto, well, everyone knows what Naruto was having. Ramen, which Naruto was very happy about, as the cafeteria at the academy served ramen only occasionally. You know, Dobe, it never ceases to amaze me how you can live off ramen and nothing else. Why should it, team? The ramen addict said in between mouthfuls. Ramen's the food of the gods. Sakura sighed and shook her head. How many times have I or others told you that it's not healthy to eat nothing but ramen? Let him be. Hawk said. He hasn't had ramen in what? A month and a half? And what a long and dark time that was. Naruto added. All of them chuckled at Naruto's comment. Even Sasuke. Naruto had to admit, Sasuke had changed since this all started. It was true that most of the time, Sasuke remained in his quiet, arrogant team attitude, but now there were times when he would let his hair down, as it were, and would smile and laugh and actually have a good time. Something that Naruto, Hawk, and Sakura were all happy to see. Naruto finished the last of his 7th bowl of ramen, burped, and let out a sigh of contentment. That was some good ramen, he said as he patted his belly. When the others finished their meals, a waitress came around, collected their dishes, and placed a tray with 4 cups and a bottle of sake on the table. We didn't order this, Sakura said to the waitress. It's a tradition, the waitress replied. Graduating students makes toasts with each other, usually about friendships or the future. Don't be an old lady, Sakura. It's just one little drink. Naruto said, only to get hit in the head by Sakura. Ow! 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 The blonde said as he clutched his head. What was that for? Calling me an old lady. Hawk chuckled. So, what should we toast to? To graduating and becoming soul reapers. Sakura said as she raised her cup. To becoming the strongest soul reapers ever. Naruto shouted as he raised his cup. To all of us becoming captains. Sasuke said as he raised his cup. To the future and to the road we all walk. Though the road may eventually fork, we won't stop walking. Even though the road may eventually end, we still won't stop walking. Hawk said as he raised his cup. Wow, that's beautiful, Hawk. Sakura said, you think so? I got from a manga. He replied, to the future and whatever it brings. They said together before downing the contents of their cups. Whoa, that's a strong drink. Naruto said. Sakura coughed a few times and replied, yeah, I wonder how Lady Tsunade could stand drinking it all the time. Maybe she's like Shijinko. Hawk said as he put his cup on the table. He drank so much alcohol that he had built up a tolerance to the stuff. Yeah, but don't forget, he was a master of the drunken fist style. Sakura pointed out. True. Of course, if Lee was here, we'd be struggled to restrain him right now. Naruto commented, causing all of them to laugh at the thought of a drunken rock Lee rampaging through the restaurant. Then they all sighed dejectedly. True be told, they missed Konoha and their friends. But at least they knew that the fate they suffered wouldn't happen to their friends. Konoha wouldn't be destroyed by the Akatsuki. We'll never see them again, but at least we still have each other. Sakura said. Naruto poured more sake in the cups and said to Konoha and our friends, though we'll never see them again, they'll always be in our hearts. Hear, hear, Hawk said before they all took another drink. So, what division do you think we'll all be placed? Sasuke asked. With my medical knowledge and skills, I'll probably be put in the 4th. Sakura said. Not necessarily. Sasuke said. Captain Urahara has been repeatedly making us give him demonstrations of the ninja abilities we still possess. I think he's been trying to duplicate our abilities and will likely try to get one of us in his division to help him with his research. In which case, you, Sakura, are the best candidate. Really? Yes. You have the broadest field of knowledge over all of us. Hawk's knowledge is more geared towards weapon techniques and his clan's techniques, which would make him more suited to a division like the 11th. While Naruto's knowledge and my own knowledge is more focused on the techniques we know, I'll likely be in the 8th or 13th. Naruto said. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Hawk said as he scratched his chin. The instructors made a big idea out of it when your Zanpakuto took the form of 2 katanas. They said that there was only 2 other people that ever possessed twin-bladed Zanpakutas. Captains Kairaku and Yukitake said you were destined for great things. Of course, they probability think the same for all of us. Well, we did appear from a vortex that opened up in the middle of a captain's meeting and completed the academy in a year. Naruto said, yeah, of course if you think about back in our world, people probably thought the same thing. The 1st and 2nd Hokages taught the 3rd. The 3rd taught the Sannin. Jiraiya taught the 4th. The 4th taught Kakashi. Kakashi taught us. Then we each learned under a Sannin. If you look at that, then it seems like we were destined for greatness. Hawk said, never really looked at it like that. Sakura commented, but you're right. It does seem like you were destined for greatness, regardless of what world we're in. One of the graduating students, who was clearly drunk, walked up to the table. He made some rather pathetic boasts and attempts at hitting on Sakura. It ended with him trying to grope Sakura and receiving one of her fists to his gut, sending him flying halfway across the restaurant, sparking a drunken brawl between a number of patrons. Come on, we should leave before we get in any trouble. Sakura said as she stood up. Yeah, things are getting a little noisy. Hawk said as he, Sasuke, and Naruto stood up. They left the restaurant and started wandering the Rukongai district they were in, ultimately stopped at a small bridge that reminded them of the bridge they used to meet at when they were genin. They spent an hour or so talking and staring at the stars. This is a nice place. Quiet and peaceful. Sasuke commented. Yeah, reminds me Konoha. Hawk said, you know, since we're likely to be put in separate squads, we should meet here one night out of the week. Naruto said, that's a great idea, Naruto. Sakura said, yeah. Hawk said, the dobe actually came up with a good idea. Sasuke said, team. Naruto grumbled. So 1 week tonight, we return to this spot. Sakura said, and we'll keep on returning to spot every week unless we have an assignment to the living world. Sasuke nodded. Yeah, that's the plan. Hawk said, yeah. Naruto shouted. Outside the 13th division the next day, Sasuke Uchiha quietly walked towards the 13th division compound. Today was his first official day as a Soul Reaper. He had to admit, he was a little excited, though he didn't show. He had his normal, emotionless Uchiha face on. His Zanpakuto was tucked in the back of his obi. The sword resembled his sword from when he was alive. The odd thing was he felt like something that was missing had been returned to him. Yet, until he picked up his Zanpakuto, he had never felt like something was missing. Perhaps they were onto something when they said that a Zanpakuto was a part of a Soul Reaper's soul. When Sasuke arrived at the gates to the 13th Division compound, he was greeted by the division's lieutenant. Sasuke Uchiha reporting, sir. Sasuke said, saluting his new superior officer. So, you're one of those four. There's a lot of people saying a lot of different things about you and your friends. The lieutenant said. Sasuke had some of the rumors about them. Most of them weren't all that pleasant or true. And do you believe them? The lieutenant grinned. Not a single one. The lieutenant then saluted and added, I'm Lieutenant Kaien Shiba. Welcome to Squad 13. Sasuke nodded his head. Hey, what kind of greeting is that? Just nodding at me. Kaien shouted at him. I'm a lieutenant. You're supposed to say hello, sir. It's pleasure to meet you, sir. Uchiha. Sasuke just stared at his lieutenant for a moment. Great. This guy's almost as bad as the dope. Well, I'm waiting, Uchiha. Hello, sir. It's a pleasure to meet you, sir. Sasuke said in a deadpan voice. Kaien stared at him for a moment before he broke out laughing. You're all right, Sasuke. You're all right. Correction. He is as bad as the dope. Small. The captain's waiting. Kaien leads Sasuke through the 13th Division's compound towards the captain's office. You see, because of the captain's poor health, I pretty much run the show around here most of the time. Though you're lucky, today's one of the captain's better days. Sasuke had heard of the captain of the 13th Division and his poor health. Sasuke wondered why. If the captain suffered from poor health like he did he remain in command of the division? Perhaps the captain was stronger than most people gave him credit for. Here we are, Kaien said as they arrived at the captain's office. Kaien opened the door and two of them entered the office. Our newest member has arrived, the captain said as he rose from his desk. Hello, Sasuke. I am Jushiro Yukitake, captain of Squad 13. The two shook hands. Hello, sir. No need to be so formal, Sasuke. Sorry, SI Captain. Now, why don't we give you the full tour and then get you settled in? Captain Yukitake said. 9th Division Headquarters. Kinshir was not having a great time. The second he arrived at the 9th Division Headquarters, a green-haired girl, one he remembered from that meeting a year ago, appeared, stole his forehand protector, and ran off, giggling as she ran. Now he and Karasu were hot in pursuit. Damn it. Give me back my headband, he shouted. Gotta catch me first. The girl shouted back. Hawk growled in annoyance. Karasu, it's time to show her just who's messing with. Karasu started multiplying, going from a single raven to 2 dozen, all of which flew towards the girl. They dive-bombed her and started pecking at her. Stop it. Bad birdies. Bad. She screamed as swarmed her. Suddenly, she tripped and fell on her face. Karasu's clones disappeared as Karasu returned to his perch on Hawk's right shoulder. Hawk knelt down next to her. I caught you. Now give me back my headband. No. You cheated. Cheater. Cheater. She screamed and started to throw a tantrum. What the hell's going on here? A man shouted. Hawk turned around, saw a gray-haired man in a captain's coat approach the two of them. It was his new captain, Kinsei Muguruma. Kinsei, the girl shouted. This guy's a big meanie. He started chasing me and then attacked me with his birdies. What? Hawk shouted in disbelief. I was chasing after you because you stole my headband. No, I didn't, lair. She shouted back. What? You're the lair. He shouted back. If I'm lying, then what's that in your hand then? Enough. An irritated Kinsei shouted. Mashiro, I told you to bring the new kid to my office when he arrived, not play one of your little games with him. Now give him back his headband. Kinsei, you mean it? Mashiro shouted. Fine. Mashiro stood up and threw Hawk his headband. Thank you. Hawk said in mixture of sarcasm and annoyance as he tied his forehead protector back on. Now, I think it's time for a proper introduction. I'm Captain Kinsei Muguruma, and that little annoying pest is my Lieutenant Mishiro Kuna. Welcome to 9th Division. Well, as I believe you already know, I'm Kinshiro Mitsurugi, though I prefer to be called Hawk. Hawk said, "Welcome to Squad 9, Birdie." Mishiro shouted as jumped up and down in the air. A vein on his forehead twitched. I said, "Call me Hawk, not Birdie, but they're the same thing." The lieutenant replied, "No, they're not. A hawk is a bird of prey, a strong and noble animal. Birdie is the name you'd give some tiny pet bird that spends all its time singing in a cage." "Oh, you can sing? Let me hear you sing." Both Hawk and Kinsei both sweat dropped. Is she even listening to me? Or am I having a conversation with a wall? Hawk thought. Hawk turned to his captain. "Is she always like this?" he asked. "Unfortunately, for as long as I've known her." Kinsei replied, "But it could have been worse." "How so?" "Kenpachi wanted you." The captain replied, "And that probably would have been much, much worse than dealing with Mishiro." "Smoaoki, sing me a song," Mishiro shouted. A single thought came to Hawk's mind. This is going to be a long, long day. 12th Division Headquarters. Sakura was a little surprised when she found out that she had been assigned to the 12th Division. Then she reached the division headquarters and met her lieutenant, Hayori Saragaki, a girl with serious anger issues. Currently, Hayori was taking her on a tour of the labs on their way to Urahara's office. The third seat of the division, Mayuri Karatsuchi, was creepy to say the least. But the other people were all right. The two of them walked past a short, bald, fat man, who grabbed Sakura's, but when she passed him. A second later, he was sent flying to the other side of the room from a single punch, crashing into the wall and leaving a dent in his size. Everyone in lab stared at her in disbelief. "He grabbed my ass," she said. Most of the people in the lab simply shrugged and went back to work. Hayori, however, looked at her with a newfound respect. "That was actually a little impressive," Hayori said. "I didn't think you were that strong." Actually, it's not about physical strength. It's about gathering and focusing the Ryatsu in the body and releasing it at the right moment. Only those born with perfect control over their Ryatsu achieve the degree of strength I have. A few minutes later, they arrived at Captain Urahara's office. "Hey, you've arrived, Miss Haruno," Urahara said as he looked up from one of his experiments. "I assumed that you, Hayori, were the cause of that loud commotion a few minutes ago." "What? Why are you always blaming me for everything?" the blonde-haired lieutenant shouted. "Actually, Captain Urahara, sir, that was me," Sakura said. "A man in one of the labs grabbed my butt, and I punched him. That must have been one powerful punch," Urahara commented with a grin. "It was sir," she replied. "Please don't call me sir. It makes me sound like an old man. Just call me Captain or Kisuk," Urahara said. "Now, once Hayori gets you settled in, I want you to create a list of all of the medicines and techniques you know as well as their effects. 'Cause you're going to help me experiment on bridging the gap that separates your ninja abilities from the rest of us." Outside the 8th Division headquarters, when Naruto arrived at the gates of the 8th Division, he found no sign of life. "Hello? Anyone home?" he shouted at the abandoned gates. Suddenly, cherry blossom petals started to rain down, followed by a person wearing a straw hat and a woman's coat. His new captain, Shunsui Kairaku. "Hello, I'm Shunsui Kairaku, captain of Squad 8. He cheerfully said. "It's a pleasure to meet you." Naruto stared at his new captain in disbelief. This guy looked like he was almost as bad as previous Sage. "Ah, Naruto Uzumaki. It's a pleasure to meet you too," he said as more petals rained down. Shunsui opened his mouth to say something, but paused and stared at the falling petals. He turned around and looked up at a woman standing on top of the gates, holding a basket full of flower petals and dropping handfuls of them. "Hey, Lisa, you can stop," he yelled. Petals continued to rain down. "What? Didn't you hear me, Lisa?" "Lisa, that's enough." "Oh, Lisa. Sweet, sweet Lisa. Lovely, precious Lisa." Suddenly, the woman Lisa dumped the entire contents on Captain Shuinsue's head, burying him in flower petals. Naruto did what most people would do in that situation. He started laughing. "Wow, you have got to be one of the funniest looking people I've ever met. Right up there with Fuzzy Brow and Mega Brow." Naruto said in between laughs. Shunsui stared at the laughing blonde for a moment before he too started laughing. Lisa Yumaro, on the other hand, just stared at her captain and the newest member of her division with a single thought in her head. Great. Just what this division needs. Another goofball. West Rakangai 1st District. So, how was everybody's first week? Sakura asked. My division's awesome. Though Captain Kaiaraka can be a lazy drunk at times, but most of the time, he's a good guy and fun to be around. My lieutenant's a little uptight, but I found out her secret. She reads dirty novels like Kakashi. Seriously? Sakura asked. Naruto nodded. Yeah, I saw her reading one of them in secret. Apparently, no one else in the division knows about her hobby. Sakura and Hawk both started chuckling. Hey, what about you, Sasuke? Naruto asked. Captain Yukitake is good man, although he suffers from poor health. Though the lieutenant is like a smart version of the dope. Sasuke said. What's that supposed to mean, team? An angry Naruto shouted. Exactly as it sounds, dope. You think he's bad, Sasuke? You should see the lieutenant of the 9th. Hawk said. She's beyond irritating. The second I arrived, she stole my headband and forced me to chase her through the division headquarters until I finally managed to catch her. Now she's determined to get me to sing and has been butchering my nickname repeatedly all week. Really? How so? Naruto asked. Hawk hesitated for a moment. She calls me Hockey. Naruto started laughing hysterically at him. Sakura attempted to suppress her own laughter and failed. Sasuke tried to pass his off as a series of coughs. Ha! 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 Very funny, Hawk said, his voice full of sarcasm and annoyance. Laugh at the guy who's got the irritating lieutenant. Sorry, but it is funny, Sakura said. Hawk grumbled. How'd you fare? Aside from a few perverts, whom I straightened out by the end of the first day, it's nice. My lieutenant is alright, at least to me anyway. She has some serious anger issues. Reminds me of someone I know. Naruto quietly said. Smash! Ow! 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 Naruto moaned as he clutched his head. Hawk smirked. You really need to learn to keep those kind of comments to yourself, Naruto. The dope will never be able to. Sasuke said. Come on, team. Naruto whined. True. Both Hawk and Sakura said. He has yet to do so, and I doubt he ever will. Sakura said. If he does, it will signal the end of the universe. Hawk added. Sakura, Hawk. Not you too. Central Archives of the Seriaidai 7 months later. Naruto groaned in boredom. This is so boring. Guarding a giant library in the middle of the Seriaidai. Who'd be crazy enough to attack this place? We have our orders, dope, Sasuke said to his impatient friend. And in case you haven't heard, there's been a string of break-ins and thefts all over the Seriaidai. Books, scrolls, tomes, anything that has written knowledge on it has been stolen from the Academy Library, from the libraries of various divisions, and from here, the Central Archives of the Seriaidai. So until further notice, the higher-ups want all of the libraries to be guarded 24/7. Yeah. Doesn't change the fact that it's boring as hell. The blonde replied. Sasuke opened his mouth to say something when a massive spike of Ryatsu flared behind them. It was coming from deep inside the archives. You were saying, Sasuke said as the two of them turned and started running deeper into the archives. When they reached the source of Ryatsu, they found a man wearing a white version of a Soul Reaper's uniform, flash-stepping in between the rows of books and scrolls. The odd thing was his flash steps emitted a static buzz every time he used it. The man was grabbing books and scrolls from the shelves and placing them in a pair of sacks he was holding. Hey thief, put those books down, Naruto shouted. The man didn't stop or even turn to face them. This is a library. Please be quiet. This is your first warning. The man replied in a Spanish accent. Warning? You gotta be kidding me. You break in and start stealing stuff, and now are giving us a warning about yelling in a library. Naruto shouted. Yes, and this is your second warning. There won't be a third. The man calmly replied. Naruto opened his mouth, but Sasuke's hand covered it before he shout anything else. Who or what are you? And why are you stealing books and scrolls from all over the Seriaidai? Sasuke calmly said. Because knowledge is power. The man replied. And I hunger for knowledge more than a hollow hungers for souls. The man chuckled at his last statement. You didn't answer my first question. Sasuke coldly stated. No, I suppose I didn't. Let me ask you this. What is it that separates a hollow from a soul reaper? Protecting souls or devouring souls? No. The hollow mask or the Zanpakuto? No. The heart or the hollow hole? No. What really separates the two is fear. Fear of what kind of creature would emerge from the fusion of Soul Reaper and Hollow. Fear of the power of such beings. And most importantly, fear of becoming obsolete to such hybrids. The man turned around to face them. Fear that I have long since overcome. Naruto and Sasuke stared in shock at the intruder. The man had gray eyes, long, flat black hair, and aristocratic features. But the strangest thing about his face was what appeared to be a fragment of a hollow mask covering the left side of his face. It resembled a medieval helmet. On the left side of his belt was a Western-style double-edged sword with a gold handle and a blue sheath. He also wore a silver necklace with a silver icon hanging from it. The icon was a small book on top of a pair of swords crisscrossing each other. "Are you a Soul Reaper?" Sasuke asked. "No," the man said with a smirk. "I am Arturo Play-to-Do. I am an Aaronkar, a hollow that has torn off its mask and gained the powers of Soul Reapers." "What?" Naruto shouted in shock. "How is that even possible? No way a hollow could become like a Soul Reaper. That's 3 strikes. Now you're dead, little Soul Reapers," Arturo said as a grin spread across his face. Naruto and Sasuke quickly drew their Zanpakutos. Sasuke's eyes changed from black to his crimson Sharingan eyes. They weren't going to go down without a fight. Arturo laughed at them. "Tell me, little Soul Reapers, do you even know the names of your Zanpakutos?" Neither of them said anything. Arturo laughed again. "You actually believe you can beat me without your Shikais? I have dueled the 3 strongest Soul Reapers alive and haven't killed me. You are nothing to me." He set the sacks he was holding on the ground and raised his hands and spread out his fingers. "I tell you what, I'll give you 10 free hits. If you manage to give so much as a paper cut, I'll leave. In fact, I'll even leave what I've taken. But after those free hits are used up, I start fighting back." Naruto and Sasuke charged and slashed the Aaronkar across his chest. Or at least that's what they tried, but instead, they found their hands bleeding and not even a scratch on the Aaronkar's kimono. "You didn't think it'd be that easy?" He curled up his pinky fingers and added, "That's 1 and 2. What? What just happened?" Naruto asked as he stared at his bleeding hands. "My hero is far, far too strong to be cut by an unreleased Zanpakuto. Looks like we're going to have to try something else," Sasuke said. 33. Naruto nodded. 33. "Ye Lord, mask of flesh and bone, flutter of wings. Ye who bears the name of man, truth, and temperance. Upon this sinless wall of dreams unleash but slightly the wrath of your claws." Sasuke and Naruto chanted. Hato 33. Pale Fire Crash. The 2 Kido spells impacted the Aaronkar square in the chest. No effect whatsoever. "Still not good enough. That's 3 and 4, he said as he curled his ring fingers. "So, what do you have next?" "Damn, our Zanpakutos aren't enough. Kido isn't enough," Naruto said. "Any ideas, Sasuke?" "No." "Then we're going to have to keep on trying," Naruto shouted as swung his swords at the Aaronkar. "Wait," Sasuke shouted, but it was pointless. Again, nothing happened, save Arturo counting off 5 and 6. So Naruto continued to swing his swords at him again and again. After a barrage of pointless sword slashes, Naruto stopped, panting as blood poured from his hands in a steady stream. "And that's 10. Giving up? I don't blame you. You never stood a chance against me," Arturo said as he balled his fists. "It's time to end this. I'm not giving up," Naruto shouted as he raised his swords again, preparing to attack again. But before Naruto could, the Aaronkar's fist slammed into his chest, breaking several of his ribs, sending him flying backwards and lost consciousness. "Naruto!" Sasuke shouted as the Aaronkar flash-stepped in front of him and kicked him in the stomach. Like Naruto, Sasuke felt a number of his ribs break as he flew backwards and lost consciousness. That was quite a pathetic showing, Naruto. A voice called out. Naruto opened his eyes. To his surprise, his wounds were gone, and he was on a very, very familiar mountaintop, overlooking a very, very familiar village. "Kano? Am I home? Was this all a dream?" He said to himself. "No, Naruto. This is not Konoha. You are not home," the voice from before said. Naruto turned around. Standing behind him was a man he'd never seen before. The man wore a very dark green, almost back version of the battle suit the third Hokage wore during his final battle. Over top of that was a white, sleeveless trench coat, similar to one the fourth had worn. There were green, swirling wind gust designs all over the coat. His eyes were the same blue as Naruto's, and a pair of green bangs framed his face. "Are you the spirit of my Zanpakuto?" Naruto asked. "Yes, I am. Air. I didn't catch that. Of course." The man sighed. "You still can hear my name. I've been shouting it for quite a while now, you know. Sorry, but I can't hear it." Naruto said, "You don't have much of a choice now. The only way you're going to survive this battle is to hear my name." The spirit of his Zanpakuto said, "I'll make this simple for you. I'm hidden somewhere in your mind, but there are many, many imposters in there as well. Find me, and you will know my name. Fail, and you will die. Quickly, before the sun sets. Find me." The man disappeared in gust of wind and leaves. Naruto looked up. The sun, which had stood in the center of the sky, started to move downward, much faster than any sun normally did. The sun would set in a matter of minutes, not hours. How was he going to find it in time? Naruto leapt off the Hokage mountain, and by focusing his Ryatsu, slowed his descent and landed safely on top of the Hokage tower. There was a white box sitting on the roof of the tower. Naruto grabbed it and tore off its lid. A strong gust of wind hit him in the face, knocking him on his butt. Wrong choice, Naruto thought. Naruto discarded the box as he stood up and looked over his mindscape. There were white boxes all over the place. There was no time to check them all. Naruto frowned and closed his eyes. It can't end like this. Not here. Not before I've even become a lieutenant. I refuse to lose here. Suddenly, a memory entered his head. "Come on, Naruto. You gotta know this, or they won't let you pass," Sakura said to him. "But Sakura, it's so boring," he whined. Sakura sighed. "Here, this one's an easy one. When sensing spirits, what's different between a normal soul and a soul reaper?" Naruto opened his eyes. "Red Ryuraku," he shouted at the top of his lungs. Naruto put his hands together in the horse seal, the one where you put your hands together and have the pointer and middle fingers point up. "If I got it wrong, tell me," closed his eyes and focused his senses. A moment later, he opened his eyes. All around him were white ribbons. He scanned the sea of ribbons, looking for the one red one. He found it near his right ankle. Naruto grabbed it and started pulling himself forward on it. He pulled himself forward, faster and faster as the sun started slipping behind the Hokage mountain. The red ribbon ended at a white box sitting on the bridge that Team 7 used to meet at. Naruto picked up the box and tore the lid off. A gust of wind and leaves escaped the box and flew around him. "I hear it," Naruto shouted triumphantly. "I hear your name." Sasuke groaned as he woke up. He sat up, and to his surprise, he was in the Uchiha district. Expect it looked like it did before the massacre. "So the Uchiha is finally awake," a voice in an annoyed tone said. Sasuke turned to the source of the voice. It was a strange humanoid creature. It resembled a cross between a dragon and a samurai warrior. Its body was covered in dark blue samurai armor with gold trim, that if you looked closely enough, you could see that it was made up of scales. The boots and gauntlets it wore looked more like armored, taloned feet and hands. It had a metallic tail that emerged from near the base of its spine. Its head, the only part of its body that wasn't covered in armor or metal, was a pale blue dragon's head. Its eyes were gold. "Well, Uchiha, have you come to see me, or are you still too stubborn to talk to me?" The dragon creature said, his voice loud and booming like thunder. Unlike Naruto, Sakura, and Hawk, particularly Sakura and Hawk, he never once spoke to his Zanpakuto. The idea of talking to a sword didn't sit well with him. He had seen others do it, and frankly, it looked stupid. Do you know how insulting it is when the person, who's supposed to be your partner, won't say a word to you? A bolt of lightning struck Sasuke, but he refused to scream in pain. Who treats you like nothing more than a piece of metal? Another bolt. Again, no scream. To be all alone in this lonely place. Another bolt. Sasuke fell to his knees, but still didn't scream. Oh wait, I forgot who I'm talking to. The brooding traitor. A fourth bolt. Again, by sheer willpower, Sasuke didn't utter a sound. I don't know how Naruto, Kinshir, and Sakura can even look you in the eye after what you did. Oh, if only I was one of their Zanpakus. Instead, I get stuck with a treacherous bastard. A fifth bolt struck him. Sasuke groaned this time, but that was it. nor did he say anything to what his Zanpakuto said. He couldn't deny what his Zanpakuto was saying. It was all true. It was because of him that they all died. Well, Uchiha, nothing to say in your defense? No, he replied. Everything you said was true. The Dragon Man stepped up to him and stared at him, like he was inspecting a piece of meat. The Dragon Man's nostrils flared a few times. You don't appear or smell to be lying. Tell me, Uchiha, do you wish for redemption for your past crimes? Are you willing to work with me? To protect your friends and comrades and bring redemption to yourself? Yes. A smirk crossed the Dragon Man's lips. That's what I was waiting to hear, he said as he held out his hand. Acting on instinct, Sasuke reached out and took his hand. Lightning coursed from the hand of the spirit of his Zanpakuto to his own. But it didn't hurt him. Now, Uchiha, let us show that creature our power. As one, Naruto and Sasuke opened their eyes and slowly stood up. Their broken ribs and cut hands temporarily mended by their Zanpakutos. Sasuke gripped his Zanpakuto's hilt with both hands and placed it in front of him. Naruto crossed the blades of his Zanpakuto in front of him, like an axe. The weak shall know their kindness. The wicked shall know their wrath. Kirinonai Kaze. Naruto shouted. A pair of mini cyclones of wind and leaves surrounded the Zanpakutos and grew larger. A moment later, the cyclones ended, revealing a pair of large falchions, each with a large, round hole near the top of the blade. Rain down your vengeful fury upon the unjust, Reiku Ryujin. Sasuke shouted. There was a loud thunderclap, and the entire sword exploded into electricity that coiled around his arms. Sasuke clenched his fists. There was another thunderclap, and the electricity transformed into a pair of wicked-looking tonfas. Impressive little soul reapers, Arturo said as he clapped. I didn't think you both had twin-bladed Zanpakutos. Now, let's see if that's enough. Naruto and Sasuke started running at Arturo again. They slashed at him, but the Eren car blocked the blades with his arms. But this time Naruto's and Sasuke's palms didn't bleed. Small blue orbs appeared in the center of the holes in Naruto's swords. Arturo pushed them back with ease. Not bad, little soul reapers, but not good enough, Arturo said. My turn. Arturo flash-stepped, reappeared in front of Sasuke, and punched him. But Sasuke managed to raise his tonfas and block the punch. The second Arturo's fist hit his tonfas. A current of electricity surrounded his body. Arturo recoiled like he had been given a nasty static shock. Naruto took this moment to attack the Eren car from behind, slashing at his back. Dumb brat, Arturo growled as he swung his left fist at the blonde. The second he hit Naruto, the blonde exploded in a Naruto-sized cyclone, shredding Arturo's sleeve. What was that? Arturo asked as he stared at his shredded sleeve. My Zanpakuto's version of one of my favorite techniques, Naruto replied as he stood next to 24 other Narutos. Naruto and his clones roared as they charged the Eren car. They cut and slashed at him from all sides, while Arturo punched and kicked at the Narutos. Every time a Naruto hit Arturo, the orbs in their swords grew larger, and every time Arturo hit one of the Narutos, they exploded in a mini-cyclone. Sasuke, seeing his opportunity, channeled electricity into the side blades of his Zanpakuto and attacked, slashing at the Eren car's back. Again, the attack caused no damage, but it further annoyed the Eren car. That's it, Arturo shouted in frustration as he let loose a wave of his spiritual press use. The spiritual pressure was so immense that Naruto's remaining wind clones exploded, and it pushed both Sasuke and Naruto away from the Eren car. Naruto stood in front of the Eren car, while Sasuke stood behind him. Both were breathing heavily. Both Naruto and Sasuke realized just how strong this creature was. Arturo hadn't been fighting them anywhere near his full strength. They even doubt that what he had just shown was his true strength. Sasuke, I don't have enough strength left to keep injuries in check and continue fighting him. We must take him down in an all-or-nothing attack, Reiku Ryujin's voice said in the back of Sasuke's head. Naruto glanced down at his swords. The once small blue orbs now filled both holes in his sword completely and spun like a pair of Raisingans. Naruto, now is the time, Kirinonai Kaze said. If we are to win this battle, we must strike with everything now. Electricity surged around Sasuke's right hand and the tip of the right tonfa blade and the sound of birds chirping filled the air. The Raisingans in Naruto's sword spun even faster. As one, Naruto and Sasuke charged at the Eren car. Arturo just stood there, confident that he would survive anything they threw at him. Chidori, Rasengan, both attacks connected with the Eren car, creating a massive explosion. It knocked nearby shelves down, scattering their contents on the floor. It sent empty tables and chairs flying. Naruto and Sasuke were flung backwards and both crashed into debris. As they slowly stood up, both could feel the pain from their wounds return. Both coughed up a bit of blood as they stared at the smoking crater. It was over, nothing could have survived that. Suddenly, laughter echoed through the large chamber. Arturo's laughter. The smoke began to clear, revealing Arturo standing there. His kimono was completely gone, though his necklace was completely unharmed. There was a perfectly round hole over where the human heart would have been located, a hollow hole. There was a large scorch mark on his back and another on his stomach. Both Naruto and Sasuke were speechless. They had thrown everything they had in that last attack. But even that hadn't been enough. I applaud you for your efforts. But truth be told, you never stood a chance. Arturo said as he drew his sword. Don't worry, little soul reapers. I'll make your death painless. I don't think so, Arturo played ado. A voice called out, I think you've had enough fun with our subordinates. Another voice called out. All three of them turned to the source of the voices. Captains Jushiro Yukitake and Shunsui Kairaku. Their zampa is drawn and unsealed. Yukitake Kairaku. It seems like I've overstayed my welcome. Arturo said. He flash-stepped and reappeared next to the two bags he had been filling with books and scrolls. He grabbed the bags. Tell me, little soul reapers, what are your names? Sasuke, Uchiha. Naruto, Uzumaki. Well, then Mr. Uchiha and Mr. Uzumaki, consider this a reward for impressing me. He tossed one of the bags at their feet and added, perhaps we shall meet again, little soul reapers. A black tear opened up behind Arturo. The Eren car bowed and said, give my regards to the old man. Arturo jumped backwards into the opening and it closed. Sasuke, Naruto, are you two all right? Jushiro asked. Before they could answer, Sasuke and Naruto passed out. 4th Division Hospital 24 hours later. Naruto groaned as he opened his eyes. He immediately knew where he was. A hospital room in the 4th Division. Naruto sighed. He hated waking up in the hospital. It always meant sitting around, doing nothing until the doctors let him leave, and eating that horrible hospital food. Naruto slowly sat up and clutched his sides. His ribs were really sore. So, you're finally awake, Dobe. You know, you snore quite loudly. Shut up, team. I don't snore. Naruto shouted back. Yes, you do. Sasuke shot back. No, I don't. Suddenly, the door opened, revealing Captain Unohana. I see you're both awake, but I have to ask you, for the sake of the other patients, please refrain from shouting and fighting. Both Sasuke and Naruto shuddered. Captain Unohana had said those words in her normal calm and gentle tone and expression. There was something about it that screamed, listen or suffer the consequences. Yes, Captain Unohana. Both nervously said, good. Now, how are you feeling? Unohana asked. You both had a number of broken ribs and some minor internal damage. Sore but otherwise fine. Sasuke answered, I'm fine. Naruto said, well then, are you hungry? You've been here for over 24 hours. Naruto's response was a loud growl from his stomach. Naruto sheepishly grinned. Hee. Yeah, smooth Dobe. Real smooth. Sasuke said, just before his own stomach growled just as loud as Naruto's did. Unohana chuckled and said, I'll bring you something to eat. Is there anything else you need? No. Very well then, I'll be back in a little while. The captain of the 4th said before stepped out of the room. A few minutes later, the door opened again. But this time, it was a man with a lieutenant's badge, messy brown hair, and black, thick-rimmed glasses. Hello, Mr. Uchiha, Mr. Uzumaki. The man said, I'm Sosuke Aizen, the lieutenant of Squad 5 under Captain Shinji Hirako. Sasuke said, interrupting him. Why are you where? I was checking on some injured members of my division and heard you were awake. So I decided to finally meet you two face to face. I hope there's nothing wrong with that. No, Sasuke said with a shrug. I have to say, the stories and rumors about the 4 of you are quite interesting. Of course, the most recent is that you two fought and killed a powerful hollow that was responsible for the recent thefts. They're only half right. Sasuke said, "We fought him, but failed to kill him. If Captains Yukitake and Kairaku hadn't shown up at the right moment, we wouldn't be having this conversation. And he wasn't a hollow," Naruto said. He said he was some kind of hybrid of Soul Reapers and Hollows. Hey, you know anything about these things? Yes, Sasuke said. He said he was an Arrancar. But they never mentioned such a creature when we were in the academy. Well, there's very little known about the hybrids, and we've only discovered a handful of such creatures, which is why we don't talk about them in the academy. In fact, outside of the captains and most of the high-rank seated officers, most have never heard of such creatures. And Captain General Yamamoto and the Central 46 consider such creatures abominations and extremely dangerous. Aizen said, "We suspect that there's two separate breeds of hybrids, Arrancar, those that were originally hollows and crossed over into the realm of Soul Reapers, and a yet-to-be-named species of Soul Reapers that have crossed over into the realm of hollows." That doesn't make sense. Why would any Soul Reaper want to become more like a hollow? Naruto asked. Power, I suppose. Supposedly, the hybrids are superior to Soul Reapers and hollows. Though, we have yet to encounter such a hybrid yet. And save for that one Arrancar that you fought, all of the Arrancar to date are unstable and cannot leave Hueco Mundo. Aizen replied, but still, a Soul Reaper purposely trying to become like a hollow. It's just too disturbing to imagine someone doing it. Naruto said, "You're underestimating what some people would do for power." Aizen said, "Wasn't there a man in your own world, an Orochimaru if I recall, who sought immortality by removing his soul and placing it in other people's bodies? Well, this would be the same kind of people. People that crave power over everything else. In other words, the worst kind of people." Naruto nodded. He found the idea of a Soul Reaper trying to become more like a hollow disturbing. Hollows were creatures devoid of a heart that had to devour other souls in an attempt to ease the agony of not having a heart. Why would anyone want to be something like that? Only sick and twisted individuals like Orochimaru would. Well, why don't we talk about something more pleasant for a while? Aizen said with a smile. They had talked with Aizen for quite a while, and Naruto had to admit he was a pretty decent guy. He reminded Naruto of Iruka, a kind and scholarly man. Unohana returned shortly after they began talking with lunches and told them that they would have to remain here for a week until their injuries were fully healed. That annoyed both of them greatly. Then she told them that the Captain General wanted a full written report from both of them about what happened before they were discharged, which greatly annoyed Naruto even more. Eventually, Aizen left, but they plenty of other visitors. Sakura and Hawk visited whenever they weren't busy, as well as members of their own divisions, including, much to Naruto's surprise, his lieutenant, Lisa Yadamaru. Naruto asked her why she was visiting him when she found irritating at best. She simply stated that although she found him annoying, he was still a member of Squad 8, and she watch out for all of her fellow squad members. 4th Division, Hospital 1 week later. Come on, Naruto. You had a full week to work on this, Sakura said in annoyance. Why couldn't you be more like Sasuke and get it done in the first day? I hate paperwork. Naruto grumbled. This coming from the guy who wanted to become Hokage. Sasuke said as he leaned on a wall. A job where the person spends most of their days doing paperwork. Hawk and Sakura chuckled at Sasuke's comment. Naruto grumbled again as he finished the last of his report. Yet again, he was reminded of how much he hated paperwork. Naruto finished his report and signed it when the door to their hospital room, revealing Captains Yukitake and Kairaku. Captains Kairaku, Yukitake, what are you doing here? Sakura asked as the two men entered the room. Well, lovely little Sakura, we're here for our 7 seats. They're checking out today. Really? Naruto asked while the rest of Team 7 had surprised looks on their faces. I didn't know they injured too. Really, that's funny, Shunsui said with a grin. You two would have been the first to know about it. I don't get it. A confused Naruto said. Everyone's sweat dropped. I did your IQ drop when you released Sanpaku to dope? Sasuke said. Think about it. How would we have been the first to know that anyone was injured? The light bulb in Naruto's head finally lit up. It was us. We were the first to know we were injured, Naruto said. But we're not 7 seats, we're... Wait, you mean we're being promoted? Yeah. Not many non-captains could have stood up to Arturo like you two did. So Jushiro, and I decided to promote you both. Naruto's captain replied, "Congratulations, both of you." Jushiro said, "Naruto, Sasuke, you both really deserve it." Sakura said, "Hey, why don't we all go out and celebrate?" Hawk said, "Yeah." Naruto and Sakura cheered. "Sure, I could go for a bite and a drink." Shunsui said, "How about you, Jushiro?" "Sure." His white-haired friend said, "The new 7 seats are paying." Hawk added as they all left the room. "What?" Both 7 seats shouted, "Hey, you guys got the promotion and the pay raise, so you guys pay." Hawk replied, But. Naruto stammered, "I agree with Hawk." Sakura said, "After all, every time someone pays for your meal, you end up trying to bankrupt them with all that ramen you always order." "But, Nobat's Naruto. You and Sasuke are paying." Sakura said. Naruto hung his head in defeat. "No fair. Oh, don't worry. The next person to receive a promotion will pay for dinner. Though I'll be imposing a 3-bowl limit on your ramen." Hawk said, "Only 3 bowls. Ah, small. That's not nearly enough. Then pay for yourself." That's it for this video. Thanks for watching. If you want next part of this series, then please make sure to leave a like, share, and subscribe. Also check out the author and their work details in description. Stay hydrated, keep until then, bye-bye.